Hello, hello. Stream has begun. It is August 22nd, 2019. I'm Jimmy. I'm going to be streaming development on Ruma, the matrix implementation for Rust. Let me open a new window over here. Let's get this displaying. Ruma's website while I give some intro stuff. It's been a couple of weeks since I did my last stream. I've done a few of them in a row, all in the same week. And then I've had some other stuff going on and have not really been actually awake at a good time to do a stream on this. So we're going to be kind of continuing from where we left off last time, which was working on doing a revision to the ruma-events library to make it better handle invalid data. And in the last stream, before I start talking about Ruma stuff, I should mention stream-specific changes since last time. You may notice that you are now looking at my ugly mug up in the right corner, top right corner. I'm going to see how this goes. I've been watching a lot of Twitch streams in the past couple of weeks, like not programming stuff mostly, but just games, and did a few gaming streams on my own on a different account. What I noticed is that almost all of the streams have the video of the person streaming, which I didn't do at first because I didn't want it to like overlap the details of the text on the window. As you can see, like the little box with my video in it is kind of blocking some of the text in the top right corner. But I'm going to give it a shot on this particular stream. And all of you watching out there will have to give me feedback on whether or not you think this is worth doing, like if it's actually useful or enjoyable in any way to actually be able to see me while I'm doing this, or whether you'd rather have that extra real estate and be able to see the text behind that tiny little corner of the screen up there. So let me know what you think. For the time being, at least for this stream, I'll probably just leave it up. I also added some Twitch overlays, which have yet to see actually work on a live stream. But if anyone says anything in the Twitch chat, it should appear on the stream on the right half, sort of under my video. And then I've got like the alert window set up, which if you watch Twitch, you've probably seen before. So we'll get notifications of anyone like following or whatever on Twitch. It's probably not necessary, but why not? So yeah, that's general stream updates, and now back to Ruma specifics. So in the last, let me actually build the documentation so we can get back to what we were doing last time. If you didn't watch the last stream, I'll recap what it was about. We're working on revising ruma-events, and ruma-events is the library component of Ruma where all of the events in the matrix specification are defined. Where an event, let's see, go client server API. So an event is like what all the data in matrix is. So a message in a chat room, an invitation to a chat room, someone joining a chat room, the title of the room changing, the topic of the room changing, all of these things are represented as events in a sort of a timeline of events. So we can go look, for example, at m.room.aliases. And all an event is a JSON object with a particular structure. So what ruma-events is let me go to the ruma-events. Ruma-events is the Rust library where there are Rust types for each of these events defined by the matrix specification so that you can work with event structures in Rust code without having to work with JSON all the time. Oh dear, this is taking a long time to build. I guess it's because streaming makes the processing slower. So, wow, it says it's using about 25% of my CPU just to do this streaming. That's unfortunate. That may be a reason why I will want to kill the video ultimately, because I imagine that has at least something to do with that. We'll see how it goes, though. Is this done? Still building. Okay, well, we'll just let that run. So yeah, this is the this is ruma-events. There's also a library called ruma-events macros, which is a procedural macro that is used internally by ruma-events to generate sort of a lot of boilerplate code that is used because what did I just do? Oh no, there we go. So it's done building now. So we can see in ruma-events we have this event type, and then all of the variants of this event type enum are all of the events that are defined by the matrix specification. You can make your own events, and that's what this custom event is for down at the bottom. But all of the other ones are the ones that any matrix server or client must be able to understand in order to interoperate with the protocol. So all of these events have a different structure, and they're generally categorized into a list of modules. You'll actually see a lot of the modules that are normally here are missing, and I have them commented out, and I'll show you why that is in a second. But let's look at one of the ones that's still here, like canonical alias. So the canonical alias is just a struct, and it looks like this. And it's got all of these fields, and most of these fields are fields that are in common with every event, and then each event also has a field called content, which is data that is specific to that type of event. So here's the canonical alias event, and it has one field, which is a room alias ID, which is a type that comes from another Ruma library called identifiers. So that's pretty much what events look like. Importantly, all of the events in the library implement two important traits, which is serialize and deserialize. And this is related to what we're actually working on here. Using serde, the serialization library for Rust, that's serde.rs, you can very easily derive an implementation of the serialize or deserialize traits, which allows you to very easily convert back and forth between Rust structures and sort of their equivalent JSON structures, or any other data format for that matter. But in Matrix, we're concerned with JSON. So you can see down here we have an implementation of serialize for canonical alias event, and we also have an implementation. Oh, interesting. Deserialize doesn't show up here yet. I guess I haven't implemented this one yet. But in the past, these event types have implemented deserialize and serialize directly, and the problem with that is that if we're deserializing some JSON data that represents an event, but there's something not quite correct about the JSON structure, then the deserialization will fail, and that's a problem because in an interoperable system, we need to be able to handle invalid data. So we needed something a little more robust than just saying, if your JSON doesn't exactly match the structure that Ruma is expecting, you can't work with this data at all. We need to be able to represent that data in the system somehow and pass it around and store it. So what we tried to do is create a sort of a separate deserialization API that separates deserialization and validation. So you can see that there's this try from string and from string implementation here. And the idea here was that you would just pass in a string of string slice that contained JSON data, and you would get back a result type that either had, let's see, is it in here? We introduced this new invalid event type, and so rather than just saying like your shit has failed, we instead if we're able to deserialize to JSON, but the JSON structure does not match the structure expected by the Rust structure, then you'll get back this invalid event object, which contains the raw JSON in it. So rather than just failing the entire operation, we'll have this invalid event representation that allows you to get to sort of poke at the original data that wasn't valid but still needs to be represented. And what we discovered is that this doesn't actually integrate well into the other Ruma libraries that use this, because those libraries are expecting these events to occur in larger structures. So if we go back to the client-server API, and if we look at the sync endpoint, this is the main endpoint that that clients will use. They query this over and over on the server side and request all of the new events that have occurred on the server since the last time the client got an update, and this will send down a list of new events. So if we go down and look at the structure of a response, we can see that it's this giant JSON structure, and within the structure we have a bunch of nested objects, and deeply nested within the objects we have an array of events. Down here, timeline, I think this is the relevant one. So this array right here contains individual objects, but and so each of these things is an event. So this object right here would be deserialized to an m.room.member event in as a Ruma type. But if the Ruma type doesn't expose an implementation of deserialize because of this sort of clever API that we were trying to do, then you can't deserialize this larger structure, because the way deserialization of nested structures work is that when you call deserialize on the top level structure, it delegates to the implementation of deserialize for all of the nested objects. So everything in this whole structure needs to implement deserialize in order to deserialize the whole structure. And because we were no longer exposing a deserialize implementation, it was impossible to deserialize the overall structure. So what I worked on in the last stream was revising this API yet again to once again expose an implementation of deserialize, but make it so that you can't deserialize the event directly. You can only deserialize a result of the event and invalid event. And I think we pretty much successfully got that working in the last stream, except that there's, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, there's also this other library called ruma-events macros. And the way that the events are implemented inside ruma-events is that this has to do with the difference between deserialization and validation. In most cases, there's not any additional validation that we want to do on the incoming data other than just making sure that the JSON structure matches. So in that case, the way that deserialize is implemented involves cloning or having two copies of essentially the same structure, one of which is private and one of which is public. We start by deserializing into the private type, and then we translate the private type into the public type, doing any validation logic that's necessary during that step. But for the common case where there is no validation logic, then there's just a totally boilerplate, like the public and the private structs are exactly the same, and there doesn't need to be any sort of special logic. So ruma-events macros is a procedural macro that will automatically expand to the sort of boilerplate code for that common case. And then there are about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 events in the library that do have some sort of validation or something that is unique and can't easily be derived from a macro. And in that case, there's a manual implementation of the traits in ruma-events. So what we did last time is we did the manual implementations in ruma-events, but did not update ruma-events macros. And so what we're going to do today is update the procedural macro to work with the new API. So before I dig into that, there's one more thing I want to do, which is look at the diff. So I do have a diff of a little bit of work that I did after the stream last time. So you can see that I commented out some of the public modules, and the reason for that is that I changed the API a little bit more, and there are some. So basically, I commented out all of the events that are generated by the macro because I had not yet updated the macro to work with the new API. Oh, and I have to apologize on every stream that I live on a very busy street, so you're going to be hearing sirens and motorcycles and various other noise and traffic out the window, and there's unfortunately not a lot I can do about that. But if you are having trouble hearing me when there's noise outside, just let me know in the stream, and I can repeat anything I say if it gets missed. So let's see. So what did I do? So yeah, I commented out all of the events that are generated by the macro because that has not yet been updated to the new API. So obviously it wouldn't compile, and I wanted to get it compiling to make sure that the new. stuff was working. The other thing I did is I changed the definition of the trait. So there's also, this is the part I did off stream, so I'm going to walk through it right now. If we go back to the documentation, actually, let's look at the last release first, because it's, I think we want to be able to look at the difference between the two. Okay, so the ruma-events library also has 3 traits: event, room-event, and state-event. And every event type is implements at least one of these traits. They're sort of supersets of each other. So all events implement event. Events that occur in the context of a room are also room events. So generally that's like a message, whereas this might be something like presence notification that's specific to a user but not specific to a room. And then state events, which are concerned with persistent state. So, for example, like the topic of a room would be considered a state event because it persists between messages, whereas a room event is sort of like sending a message. There's like someone said something in chat. It's sort of like an ephemeral thing that happens at a certain point in time but doesn't exist after that point. So state events are also room events, which are also events, and room events are also events. So originally the trait for event looked like this. So the type that you're implementing event for needs to implement also the debug trait, the from string trait, and the serialize trait. From string this is from the last revision where we had hid that deserialize implementation. So essentially this from string implementation stands in for deserialize. So you can basically think of an event as something that can serialize and deserialize and then has a debug implementation just to make it easy to print out. And then similarly, every event has a content associated type, which like I mentioned before, every event has the content struct embedded with it, which is the parts of the event that are specific to that event. And that also needs to to serialize. Interesting that it doesn't say deserialize. Oh, I think this is the problem I was running into. So actually, no, I think that just might be a mistake. I don't know why that doesn't say from string. I think that was a mistake where we didn't update the trait to match the original implementation. Because if we go back to ruma-events 012, yeah, so this is what it originally looked like. You can see it has deserialize and serialize, and that's required for both the top-level event type and the content struct that's embedded in it. So that what we were looking at before, how from string is missing from the content associated type here, that's actually a mistake in the last version of ruma-events, which is something that we're addressing here. So what I revised here, if we look at this diff, you can see that event, instead of implementing from string and serialize, we're going back to saying that it must implement serialize, and there must also be an implementation of deserialize and serialize for an event result where the self type is the current. So this is a little bit confusing maybe, especially if you're newer to Rust. But if we go back to the top level, we have, where's event result? Oh no, we want to look at the new one. So in the new API, we have this type event result, which is basically exactly the same as the standard library result. And the only reason we have this separate type is because we need to do our own implementations for it that would otherwise conflict with the implementations in the standard library. So it's just like result. We have an OK variant, which is the type that we hope for in the successful case. And then in the error variant, we have invalid event, which I showed you a second ago, which is this thing that has a message about the error that happened and the original JSON value if we were able to successfully deserialize it. So what this trait event is, what the trait is saying is that, oh wait, let me go back to look at it here. What the trait is saying is that for any type that is considered an event, there must be a deserialize implementation for event result, where the OK type is the current event. So I'm realizing now, looking at this, that I missed the serialize implementation also, which is also required. Trait event. So This also needs to be serialize. So let's run cargo doc on that again. And while that's running, I'm going to run to get some water real quick. I'll be right back. Talking dries out your mouth pretty fast. Okay. Why do I need I don't think this is necessary to specify because that's already specified. I think we can actually get rid of that because that's specified by the super trait. Oops. Let's see. Oh, whoops. I meant cargo check. Oh, it didn't like that. Let's go back to cargo check. Okay, what does it not like here? Oh my goodness. What did I do wrong? The trait event result self is not satisfied. Oh, maybe that is necessary. That's weird. I would have thought that that was implied. So I do need to add the serialize implementations here. Oh, actually, let's see. No, this is wrong. Event result does not need to be serialized. It's self needs to be serialized. Because we only deserialize into event results. We don't have to worry about validation for the serialize case. So that's actually correct. Maybe that's all it was complaining about. Let's try doing this again. Is it still gonna complain at me about not having 14 errors? The trait event result self is not deserialize is not satisfied. Huh. I wonder why that's necessary. Doesn't seem like it should be. Okay, that checked correctly. So this works now. Now the unfortunate thing here is that if you notice, I had to make this require that this be sized. And if I take that out, I think it will not type check. Yeah. And the reason is because the reason that sized means that the type must be known at compile time, or the size of the type must be known at compile time. So essentially it means you can't use a dynamic object. And the reason that I have to actually specify that it's sized is because see how we're referring to self in this type here, specifically here, like you can't do that in a trait object because in order to do that it needs to know what the self type actually is. So unfortunately this means that with this API events will not be usable as a trait object. I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem. I kind of think it might not be. But I may need to think about this more in the future. There may need to be another revision of this that handles this differently. But until I come to a case where this is actually a problem, I think I'm just going to ignore it and leave that size bound in. So I think what we want to do now is move over to ruma-events macros. Let's make 2 new tabs, ruma-events macros. And let me get my bearings here about... Wait, make sure that we have the latest version checked out. And let's look at... Okay. So I think what we want to do is patch, yeah, right here, version this, path equals ruma-events macros. Now what I want to do is use my local checkout of ruma-events macros for building my local checkout of ruma macros. So we'll just use compiling ruma macros to ensure that ruma... Sorry, we'll compile ruma events using the local copy of ruma events macros to make sure that it's working. So to start with that, let me actually open up source lib again, pubmod, and let's do direct, or dummy. That's a very simple one. So I'm going to uncomment the dummy module, which should cause this to fail type checking because the implementation of the dummy event comes from the old, or the unupdated ruma macros, which does not... Yeah, there we go. So this all fails because the code generated by the ruma event... actually, let's go look at it. So this is this call right here is the macro that's creating the dummy event implementations based on the code in ruma events macros. And currently this is generating code that works only with the old API. So we need to look at, let's see, ignored user list. Yeah, let's look at one of the existing ones. Whoops, what did I just do? And let's take a look at, I have to re-familiarize myself with how this is laid out because I haven't worked on this. Oh, wow. That's a big library. I haven't worked on this in a while. But basically, we're looking for the place where the implementations expand. Which is pretty much... Oh, yeah, right here. 2 tokens. This is where all of the code gets generated. So ultimately, at the very end here... Why is this so long? Put 2 tokens. Motorcycles are the bane of my existence. There's no reason why anyone should have a vehicle that loud. Okay, so here's the final thing that's generated. So this output variable here. So we're using the quote macro to create the event struct, and then the content struct, and then we're so this is in the old version, we're implementing from string. So this is the part we want to change. So in the new API, why is from string still there? I feel like we don't want that anymore. I think I just left that, but intended to remove it later. So what we're really doing is, I'm just going to copy all of this text because it's pretty similar, I think, to what we want here. So I'm going to paste this in, and then we're going to edit it to work with the new API. Oops. Okay, so how do we refer to serialize? Serdi, okay. So that we're going to fully qualify this. And this is not going to be ignored user list event. This is going to be name. And this is Serdi deserializer. Serdi J, that's the same. How do we refer to this raw stuff? So we can still use name here. So this just becomes name. And I think all of the rest of this stuff stays the same. And then for the OK case, after we've deserialized, try from field values. I think this is what we want. Oh, except that we're inserting one extra type in here. So we return a result of event result rather than just result. That might be all that's necessary to make this compile. Let's give it a try. Okay. Use of moved value, try from field values. Oh, right. We don't actually need the from string or try from implementations anymore. So what happens if I just comment these out? What's it complaining about? Undeclared type or module event result. How is that? How do I refer to things inside ruma-events? Oh, crate. Okay. So event result needs to be referred to as crate : because we're doing absolute paths to these things, so we don't have to import them into the implementation. That may be all that was wrong, but we'll see. Nope, still some other problems. Oh, it still doesn't... Wait, what? Use of undeclared type or module event results, still. Where else am I... Let's see. Let me just search for it here. Where else am I using event result and not referring to it by name? Ah, right there. I missed that. And is an inner invalid event? Yeah, this is going to need to be namespaced also. So inner invalid event comes from the crate. One more time. Invalid event. Ugh, God, missed another one. And then we've got some lifetime issues, but we'll just run that one more time. I'm not sure what the lifetime issues are going to be. Implicit elided lifetime not allowed here. Indicate the anonymous lifetime. Oh, interesting. Now this is frustrating. I wish... As you see, this is showing me the macro code. What I really want to see is where that error occurs in the generated code. Ah, it's so annoying. Someone told me on the last stream a quicker approach to testing the seeing the expanded code and running the compiler against the actual expanded code directly to make it easier to see where this error comes from. Because the problem was, since this is a procedural macro, like at compile time, this code is getting run. It's generating this output code, and the compiler is running that code and type checking it. But the error it gives me is just assigned back to assigned back to the place where the macro is invoked right here, which doesn't actually show me the generated code, so I don't see the place where that error is actually coming from, which is very, very unfun. But it's got to be related to this deserialize implementation. So which of these types has a deserialize? I'm using lifetimes here. Huh. Well, it's not obvious to me where I'm leaving out a lifetime. So what I'm going to do is, I think I want to do, I'm going to comment out these two and this one just to reduce the size of the generated code. And then I'm going to do rust up, cargo plus nightly expand to test. Oh, what the hell? Make dir tests. We're going to do, why did it not save that? Cargo plus nightly expand tests expand dot rs. So what that does is it this will actually generate the code and output the generated code to a file in my tests directory. And I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit to actually get it to compile, because it inserts like everything that gets expanded, some of which have things in it that you can't have in a file if you're actually running rustc on it. So it's not ideal output. But this is the best way I know to debug proc macro generated code. Oh god. Let me get rid of deny warnings for now. Let's try that again. What is the problem? Yeah, no shit. Did it actually put something there? Oh, it did. Expand. Okay, cool. I think I can get rid of those things. And prelude import. I think that'll be enough. Let's see what happens if I try to run cargo test. So now I'm actually running cargo test on this file as if it was a test, which will cause it to actually compile this source code. And we'll see. I think there's probably going to be some. Close this. I think there's probably going to be some other things that I need to clean up, like attributes. Like I think this automatically derived. I think I'm going to have to remove that attribute in order to get this to compile. No, maybe not. Use macro division. What? Oh. Oh, damn it. Because it's trying to build the crate now. Let me go back to lib. Debug. Let's comment this one out too. Yeah, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So all right, we're not actually. Oh, that must be what it is. It's impl event. Oh, right. So we're implementing the event trait. Yeah, right here. So this now has a lifetime associated with it, which it didn't before. That's what that is. And so the room event and the state event versions will also need that. Let's see, impl create room event. So this needs a lifetime also. And same for state event. This needs a lifetime. Okay, let's try cargo checking that again. What's the problem now? Oh, okay. Well, I uncommented. Or I commented out everything, so of course it's going to compile. Okay, so we got rid of that error about the lifetime annotation. Trait bound event result of empty deserialize is not satisfied. What? Oh. Interesting. So the problem is that I have specified here. Where's the trait? Where are the event traits? Yeah. So I've specified here that the content type has to have an implementation of deserialize into event result, but that's not the case for this. This uses a type alias as its content, so the type of the content for this event is just an empty structure, and empty comes from here somewhere. Struct empty. So empty implements deserialize, but we also need an implementation of deserialize for event result. So let's add that. So this is for event result of empty. And all this needs to do is deserialize the empty type. Let's see, how do we do this exactly? Impulse 30 deserialize. What? It doesn't like that? Where's deserialize? Oh. Right. So I think we're pretty much going to do exactly this again. More or less. So first we're going to deserialize into a JSON value, and we don't actually need this stuff. So raw is, we're actually going to call this empty. And this is going to be so we try to deserialize it again. Sure, let's call it raw. No, I'm going to call it empty. So if we can deserialize the empty value, then we return it. Whoa, what did I just do? Event result, okay, empty. And if we can't, then we return the create result of a validation error that says it was valid JSON, but it was not a valid event, or not a valid empty. I think that's That will work. Let's try that. Expected struct, variant, or union type found enum event result. Oh god, what did I do now? Looks like I might have to expand this again, because I have no idea where that error comes from. Cargo plus nightly. What's the problem here? Alright, so we're going to go back to mod dummy, comment that out, and then we're going to run our tests. To run the generated code. Hopefully this will give us a more useful error. Oh my god, what have I done? What's this about? Oh. Right. So we've got to get rid of those two lines. And these lines. That might be enough. Let's try that. Oh, still doesn't like that. Wow. What on earth? Feature may not... I thought I deleted that. Did it not save? Ugh. Attribute surdy is not known to the compiler. What? What happened to... Oh. 351. Because it removes the deserialize implementation? That's weird. Oh my god. I guess I just have to remove all of these. Hopefully there won't be too many. Oh. No, this is going to take forever. Because there's... Yeah, no, fuck it. Man, this is unfortunate. Why did I not have this problem before? I guess what I should do... Oops. What I should do is... source lib. Pubmod. I should remove all of the stuff. Yeah, just everything. That's what I did before. That's why it worked. Just because I removed all of the... Oh my god. Warnings. Yeah. Still complaining about this, huh? Oh, I need to run cargo expand again. Right? Cargo... plus nightly. Yep. Okay. Now we try again, but once again I need to remove this nonsense and remove these 4 lines. That's probably enough. This is really unfortunate. What? It's still complaining about this? 171. Format internals. Ugh. Let me try removing this. We're going to put these back. Derive. Debug. Oh, I see what this is. This is, I think that's allowed. And it's because of this macro expansion. So this originally said write F. Well, let's actually go look at it. Lib impl display. Yeah, this is what we actually want. Let's just do this and let it expand again. Let's see if that gets us far enough. Oh my goodness. Oh, so there must be a bunch of these in here. What the hell? 271? Yeah. Oh my god, this is such a pain. Let's see if that works. No, there's going to be a bunch of these. 22 error. Oh my god. 24. So this is an EQ implementation. We don't care about this. We don't care about hash. We don't care about partial EQ. Let's get rid of all of that. This is so painful. If anyone watching knows an easier way to do this, I would be forever grateful. Okay. 917. More of this nonsense. Right. What is this in? Display for event type. Event type string. I'm betting this is the same thing. Is that going to be enough, or is it still going to complain to us? No, there's still more. Not found in this scope. It's called formatter here. 1055. We don't care about partial EQ. Oh, we're getting close. 1062. This is another one of these. Right. F. Actually, we don't really care about any of this, I guess. Whoops. Algorithm string. Okay. No method message. Right. Invalid input. Self.0. Oops. Okay. 375. Right. F. Whatever. We don't care about this specific message. This is just to satisfy the compiler. And 435. Yet another one. Right. Formatter. Whatever. Don't care. Was that the last one? Oh no, there's another one. Oh, it didn't like that? Oh, it is called F here. Whoop. I guess I was just inconsistent about my variable naming. 854. Expected result found unit. Oh, right. I have an extra semicolon. One more. Sorry about this, everyone. This is not fun to watch, I'm sure. Right. Formatter. Although, this is useful in showing just how painful it is to debug a procedural macro. Maybe there's a better way than this, but if there is, it's news to me. And this is really kind of, I think, exposing a problem with Rust in that we want macros to be much easier to develop than this. Because you shouldn't have to say, well, I would like to use a procedural macro, but the development experience is so bad that I'm going to avoid it. Like the goal should be that if it's appropriate for what you're doing, you should want to use it. Okay. What? That passed. So what was the complaint then? I don't get it. If I cargo check, wasn't this giving me a warrant, an error? Yeah. Expected struct, variant, or union type. I don't understand. Oh, it's... Wait a minute. Dummy? Did I not actually include dummy in the output? Oh my god. Okay. No. What we're going to do is put that in a different file so I don't have to redo all of that work I just did. Let's put that in expand2.rs. Oh, I'm going to have to... Oh, well, that might actually work. Dummy. Aha. Pubmod dummy. That's what do we want? Let's extract all of this nonsense. And then we're going to go back to the first expand. And let's paste this in. And then we'll run remove tests expand 2. And let's run cargo test again. See how far we get. Oh, right. So now we can go back. Let's go back and... Oh, I should have gotten rid of this. Whatever. Get rid of those. Yes, I know, I know. Expected struct, variant, or union type found enum event result. Okay. So the problem comes from this right here. We're expecting name, not self. I think that was all it was. Oops, not cargo test. I want cargo check now. What's the... Oh, unused macro division, so I have to generate a little more code. Okay, that checked. Good. So that appears to be working then. I wonder if that's all it is needed. What happens if I just uncomment all of it now? Or let's try one more module. Nope. What's the problem here? Let me try a less complicated module, like, presence, I think, should be pretty easy. Let's see. Oh, wait, what? Did I forget to do... Oh, did I forget to do a deserialize implementation for... Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. Because the one that I actually did used a type alias, where I was... Because it was using that empty type. Remember, I did that deserialize for event result implementation back in the main crate. But I still need to do this same implementation for the content. So that comes from here. But where is content generated? Where is there's content. So this is different based on whether the content is... That doesn't have the implementations. Raw content. No, that doesn't seem right. Try from field value. No. Where's the place where we're doing, like, implement from string? What? What's going on here? Oh, right. For name... Did I not have content conversions in here? Raw content. It seems like it's not actually in here. So in the old version, even before the changes I'm making today... Oh no, here, impl conversions for content. Where is that? Impl conversions for content. Oh yeah, right here. So this is where I want to put it. And we actually don't need this, so I'm going to take this out. To remind me to remove that later, because we don't need those implementations anymore once we have this new API. Okay. So instead of name here, this is going to be content name. Maybe that's the only difference that is necessary here. Content field values. This one actually does use self. Because I guess this is always a struct. Content field values. Let's give it a try. Yeah, self doesn't work here because it's not actually self anymore. It's actually name. So this is exactly the same bug that I just spent all that time debugging. We can't use self there because the self type has changed since the last API. Okay, that checked also. So let me try another module. Okay, this is looking good. Let me not do the collections yet. Let me do all of these. And let's see. Yep. Alright, so I've now enabled everything again. Oh, it doesn't like something. Oh, stripped. Yeah. Let's get rid of... let's not worry about stripped yet and see what other... Because stripped is a little bit different. And see if there's any other ones that I did wrong. Event result of hash map. Deserialize is not satisfied. Ah, so this is another instance of using a type alias. So I think we're going to have to go... Where's event result specified here? Ah, man, this is an unfortunate. I'm going to have these manual implementations of event result. So I think we need to do, let's see, impl de. No? Doesn't like that? Impl, maybe it needs a, yeah, there we go. So we need basically the same thing here. No, we need like this. We need something like this for event result of hash map. And specifically, this has to be generic over the contents of the hash map. So this has to be, I never ever remember if lifetime or type comes first. I think, let's just try it. I'm going to get it wrong, I know it. I never remember the order of lifetime versus type variables there. Is it not liking that? Yeah, so the other thing we need is that where K is deserialize and V is deserialize. I think that will work. Otherwise, this is all exactly the same. And so this is hash map. And this is a hash map. Let's see if it likes that. Oh dear. Hash map not found in this scope. I just saw a couple days ago there was a thread on internals or Reddit or something that was discussing whether hash map should be in the prelude so that you don't have to import it. Wouldn't really surprise me, because it's not a thing you have to import in pretty much any other language I've used, which is largely high-level languages. I don't really feel strongly about whether it should be or not. It is true that it's not always used, because hash maps are not as fundamental a type in Rust as they are in a lot of other sort of like certainly the like Ruby, JavaScript, Python sort of world. But if it got added to the prelude, I would not have had to do it just then. All right. Oh, right. I have to actually tell it what the type arguments are here. So this is K and V. How about that? K comp EQ is not satisfied. Why does it have to be EQ? That's weird. Okay. Hash is not implemented for K. See, this sucks because now I'm like, it just feels like I'm re-implementing. Hash is not in the prelude? That's weird. I guess the derive is, but the actual type isn't. Call of deserialize is not general enough. I've never seen that error before. Hashmap KV must implement for any lifetime tick 0, but hashmap KV actually implements tick 1 for some specified lifetime. Oh, interesting. So 66. So there actually needs to be 2 lifetimes here. Is that what it's telling me? Also, it's worth noting here, this crap here, talking about session description, this is, I think, a bug in Serde, where there's another type. I'm not sure, this is either a bug in Serde or a bug in the compiler, and I'm not sure which, and I should probably report it, but I'm not really sure how to reduce this into a test case that would be more useful for them without just sort of like pointing to Ruma and saying, look at this error we get. Basically, like, this comes from a a derived implementation of serialize for this session description type, and for whatever reason, it picks session description as the error message for every type related to a derived implementation, regardless of which specific type we're talking about. I don't know why that is. So the fact that it says session description here is like super misleading. It's not actually concerned with session description. I don't really understand this error. Not general enough. Wait, how is there even a what? Let me run this again. So it's Serialization that's complaining about this. Ah. 5 Inches of Fury, thank you for following me. Hope this is useful to you. I also just saw that it looked like the follow thing appeared in the wrong place on the screen. Where is it? Oh yeah, what the hell? This was supposed to be centered. Transform center to screen. Okay. Oh wow, that got moved too. What the hell? Oh, that got resized. That's weird. Let's do 200 and 400. I don't know why these got resized. Oh, that's completely wrong. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to get the stream stuff working a little bit better. Oh, that's weird. Why did that get resized? I'll lock that into place again. I guess no one has said anything in chat today, so it's a little hard to tell how well this is working. 100, 600. Or at least I don't know if the chat box is positioned well. Yeah, that got moved again. What the hell? That's so weird. I think OBS is not the most impressive software. It's like, at least in terms of like the layout, I tend to have weird issues with it. Like, where'd the alert box go? Okay. Chat box. Okay. All right. Well, seems okay now. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Right. So, let's take a look at the docs for Serialization, because it seems to be the error is coming from the from value. This method. Hash map must implement deserialize for any lifetime. But hash map actually implements it for some specific lifetime. How on earth do you address that? This doesn't even take a deserialize owned. Oh. I wonder if I might be able to do this with higher ranked bounds. What is it called for inner? Let me call it. Yeah, sure. For inner For inner. Nope. Just regular old inner is what I want. That's probably wrong, but let me try that anyway. I've never encountered this error before. I've been programming Rust for 5 years. I've never once seen this. Oh, that did it! Wow. Oh, that was a shot in the dark. Holy crap. So I still haven't totally wrapped my head around what this is doing. It's kind of like it's sort of, I know it has something to do with what are they called? Generic associated types, or associated type constructors. It's kind of like a half measure that allows you to, in some cases, talk about lifetimes that are used for associated types that are not used by the implementing type. And I've read the description several times, and it just hasn't totally clicked for me. So the clue here was just seeing that it was being used by this deserialize owned method. But essentially, it's like it's bringing in a lifetime into scope just for this part of it. You know, normally, like, you would introduce the lifetime specifier on the type level, but notice that this is only used on the super trait here. So it's saying that, like, the super trait uses a lifetime, but deserialize owned itself doesn't. And I wonder, actually, if that's something I should be concerned with my own... Oh, you know, I should actually be doing that here. Maybe this is an appropriate way to do it. Like, yeah, see this? See how I added this DE lifetime to the event trait specifically because of the need to specify deserialize here? But I wonder if this is an example of where, like, that lifetime is needed by the deserialize trait, but not by the event itself, because the event doesn't actually have references in it. So I wonder if I can actually do for tick DE. I wonder if that will work. I'm going to try this. Because that would be nice to not have to have those lifetimes on the type level. My best layman's explanation of what this means is just like the lifetime is only relevant for the following span and not for the entire type. I don't have a more formal definition of what this means. So I apologize for that. If anyone who's watching does, please enlighten us. Okay, let's try compiling that. Let's see if it takes. Ooh. Didn't like that. Oh, this... Yeah, okay, so this is related to... Now I have to update those macros. To get rid of that in the definitions. But I think this will be worth it if it lets me compile it. And then, ironically, we would have to get rid of... Oops. Rid of it over here. Let's see, event. Yeah, remember this, where we had to find that. Get rid of those. Let's see if that works. I'll learn something here today if it does. Interesting. Okay. So I think this is 536. Oh, wrong file. 536. Unexpected lifetime argument. Oh, right. Event no longer has this, so I just remove it here. And then there's probably the same thing here. Yep. Okay, that compiled. Awesome. So that gets rid of the lifetime in the traits, which is very nice. I mean, it does introduce this I think they're called higher ranked type bounds. HRTB, you'll see it abbreviated as. So it introduced that which is a little harder to explain. But it's nice not to have it in the name of the trait, because then you won't have to constantly add that lifetime every time you use the trait name. And maybe, well, is that enough to actually remove this sized bound? Let me try it. I'm not sure if the sized bound had to do with the fact that it was a reference. Yeah, no, it's because it's referring to an associated type via self. That's the problem. So that's not possible. You've got to leave the sized bound in. And now it's not complaining about the hash map implementation anymore either. Hash map. So that's now working. Excellent. So this is pretty hairy, I think, like, certainly to a Rust newbie, like, these lines right here would be like, what the hell is happening? But it works. Let me... Okay, yeah. So all of the types work now. So we need to now address the stripped module, which I think had some issues with it. Let's see, what does it not like here? Oh, this is weird. What's the complaint here? Oh, room. I must have... Oh, that's the problem. I just had a bunch of stuff still commented out in the room module. So the types didn't exist. Oh dear. Oh, okay, so stripped has something manual in it that's using the old API, it looks like. Yeah. So this needs a manual implementation of deserialize, just like we've been doing. So let me lib deserialize. Where are you at? I'll steal. Is there a simpler one that I can steal? Oops. Let me steal it from Impl. Oh God. Yeah. Let me steal this. Actually, let me look at... Okay, so we are importing deserialize... Ooh. Deserialize, deserializer. And event result is probably in here too. Event result. So we don't need the crate on that. And this is called stripped state. Stripped state. No, not stripped state content. Damn autofill's getting me. Okay, and then, so this is kind of like this. We need to... Oh, yeah. We need to do all of this stuff first. So first we try to get a value, then we figure out what its event type is, and then I guess I should have copied this implementation. This is closer to what we want. So if it's okay, then we need to return can't just do JSON.parse. This needs to, let me see, how did I do this in message? This is based on event type. It's not quite the same thing. Because we're actually deserializing different things based on the event. Oh, raw content. Where's the content one? That's weird. Okay, so this is really going to be let stripped state equals, and then down here we're going to return OK, event result, OK, stripped. Whoa. Wow, that, I'm not sure I love the... I'm sure I love the autofill plugin I have. It autofills things sometimes when I don't want it to. Is there a nicer way to do this? Let me just start writing out one of them because I'm having a little trouble visualizing this. So what we're really going to do is match from value for stripped. No. What's the inside room aliases? Stripped room aliases. We're going to try and convert this from a value. And if we're successful, stripped state, then this is going to return stripped state room aliases stripped stripped. Oh my god, that's so annoying. And if it's an error, then we're going to do this stuff. Why is it called JSON in some places? And oh, it's value. Oh, right, because JSON was the string. So this actually needs to be, value. And I probably need to clone it, but let's see if it gives us an error first. And why? Whoa, what did I do here? Oh, so this needs to be indented. It really doesn't like this. Cannot find value JSON in this scope. Match arms have incompatible types. I think that's just it not updating fast enough. So I basically want to do exactly that whole block for all of this stuff. Let me try pulling this out into a function. Just call it like extract. It's going to take a value, which is a Serdi JSON value, and it's going to return result of stripped state, or what's the error message? Oh, well, the error would be an invalid event, right? So essentially we're going to say, we're going to do this 125. This whole thing will move into 159. Oops. So we're going to match, and this is going to be on T, I guess. There's not really an easy way to do this too, because I need to associate the two. I need to associate the variant with the type. I'm not going to bother with this. There's probably a way to write it, but I'm not seeing it right now. I think it's probably not worth trying to abstract just for this. Okay, so we need a bunch of these. One for room avatar. Stripped room avatar. Avatar. Okay. I guess I could make a crate wide helper for this thing to reduce that boilerplate a little bit, but I don't know. It probably doesn't really matter here. Alright, so this I'm going to change to room canonical alias. And this is stripped room canonical alias. Okay. This is pretty annoying. If I was better with Vim, I could maybe do like a Vim macro to do all this for me. But room create. Stripped room. Stop autofilling. Oh my god, what the fuck? That's unusable. I'm gonna actually enable deoplete. Call deoplete disable. I'm going to turn that shit off because it's just so frustrating to have it autofill things as I'm trying to delete them. Stripped room create. Ah, much better. This one is room guest access. Stripped room guest access. Okay. How many more are these? About 6 more? Ugh. 6 or 7. Dalek, hello, what are you doing? I'm working on Ruma, which is a Rust program that implements a protocol called Matrix, which is a communication program. Yeah, check out the FAQ. It kind of answers some of the basics. Unfortunately, I'm pretty deep into what I'm working on now. I don't want to re-explain all the stuff that I talked about at the beginning of the stream. Hopefully you can kind of catch on a little bit with a little bit of the context. And, oh, cool. And now stuff is showing up on the video, so I can actually see what it looks like. I guess it's already gone away. Wasn't quite fast enough. But yeah, if you have any specific questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Right now I'm just doing some really boring boilerplate, changing a giant match statement from one style to another. So room guest access I did. This one is room history visibility. And this is stripped room history visibility. I completely lost my autocomplete tab completion. That's very frustrating. Okay, so we can get rid of this one. And then we've got one for join rules. Room join rules. Stripped room join rules. Okay. Room, this is room member. Stripped room member. Room name. Stripped room name. Almost done. What can I do with Rust language? Can I use it for a web server-side API? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that is what I am doing literally right now. Well, not this particular library, but Ruma is a server-side web API. It's just JSON over HTTP. Oh god, I'm spilling water on myself. So yeah, if you go to the web, there's a site called Are We Web Yet? I think .com, or is it .rs? Are We Web Yet .rs? No, I think it's the .com. I think it's just slow because it's not HTTP. Oh, Are We Web Yet? I'll let that. Hold on. Let me turn off HTTPS everywhere. Yep. Oh no, that's not it. Are We Web Yet? Oh, I must have spelled it wrong. Are We Web Yet? If you go to this website, this has a lot of details about building web applications in Rust. So this is a great place to start. It talks about what are the frameworks you can use, like what are the libraries that you do with the usual stuff, and some blog posts about getting started. It's actually been a while since I looked at this site, and I should probably put this in the show notes, which I have not started yet. Desktop vim show notes.md. Are we web yet? Yeah. So yeah, it's not it won't be as easy to use as probably some other languages that you're familiar with, but it's coming a long way. It's certainly possible. It's going to get a lot easier in about 12 weeks from now. There's a major language feature, async await, that's finally reaching stable Rust from the nightly development version. And when that happens, writing asynchronous networking software in Rust is going to get a lot easier than it currently is. And I think at that point, all the web frameworks will start incorporating the new asynchronous sort of foundation, and then the libraries will start to really mature at that point. So I think we're pretty close to a time when I would guess maybe 6 months from now, Rust will be really good for writing any sort of HTTP applications. But the stuff I'm working on today is library components that are used by this larger system I'm building, and they're not specific to HTTP or the web or anything. We're working with JSON. This is really the only sort of related thing. But that's kind of what I've been working on with Ruma lately, is sort of lower level foundational parts that will later be used in the web server that don't actually rely on the web parts of it. Because for that, I'm waiting for the development of async. And it's almost here. Okay. Let's see. Room power levels. Room power levels. Whoops, what did I just do? Stripped room. Nope. Power levels. Whoops. What did I just do? Yo. Room third party invite. And stripped room third party invite. Okay. Almost done. Just one more. Room topic. Stripped room topic. Okay, does this... I guess this doesn't really make sense. Oh, yeah. Wait. Not a state event. Okay. That should still be okay. Let's see how far that takes us. Oh dear. What have I done? Looks like I just got a couple of variable names wrong up there. 89. Yeah. Deserializer, so I really want this. Oh, wait a minute. This is totally the wrong place. Wait a minute. Have I been doing this wrong? Oh, no. What is it complaining about here? Oh. Wait, what? Hold on. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something weird here. Oh, yeah, this is wrong. This should say... This needs to be like this. I'm just going to put that there for now. Value equals match. Seems like I'm missing this stuff. Oh man, I'm just confusing myself at this point. $91. Have I done something wrong here? I think I can I just do this? And that does the right thing? That doesn't seem right. From impl cert JSON error for invalid event. I feel like I'm doing this wrong. How is that question mark even working? Event result. This feels completely wrong. Where's the from implementation for this coming from? How is the question mark even working here? My brain is starting to fry. I think this is a mistake. This actually wants to be more like what this was showing before. Oh, crap. What? Wait, what file was I working on? I was in stripped. Yeah, this seems wrong. Well, I think it needs to be this. Or something closer to this. So it needs to be... I'm going to take a quick break for a second, just stand up and stretch. So, sorry for the silence. What I was thinking here is... the fact that there was just a question mark being used there means that if the value fails to deserialize... Oh no, I guess that is right. If we can't even deserialize to a JSON value... then... Yeah, okay, sorry, that was right. I don't know why I'm getting confused by this. Yeah, so if we can't deserialize from the input to a cert JSON value type, then we give up. we just return a serialization error that comes from it's only the validation error case where the JSON, it's valid JSON, but it's not a valid event where we care about wrapping it in our own type. So that's the, man, tricky. Okay. Just get on my feet a little bit. Thank you, Apple Watch, for reminding me to stand. Okay, so let me go back here and see, what am I'm confusing myself here with this. I don't need all of this stuff anymore. I think I can get rid of all of this and just do a question mark here, because it's either valid JSON or it's not. So at that point, oh, what is it not like? Oh, we don't need a match anymore. It's just straight up that. I'll kill that. And let's check again. Unused import deserializer. Really? Oh, it's because of this. I wasn't using the imported version. Oh dear. What's all this nonsense? Mismatched types. Expected associated type found invalid event on 94. Okay, I'm really screwing this up somehow. So this is not an error. This is okay event result error. And then inside that we have invalid event. Okay. So we're returning, it's valid JSON, but it doesn't have, we're missing the field type. And then here we're going to have the same problem where this actually wants to be an OK variant, and it's an event result of error variety. Yep. Okay. And then, oh, damn it. It's the same problem with all of these. Ah. Okay. So let's change return error in all of these cases to return OK event result : OK. Yeah. Oh, crap. And then I need an extra closing paren on each of these lines, because it's now wrapped in an additional layer. Fun times. Type in close parentheses. All right. Oh, and this one needs to actually be changed also. So this is the same thing. Event result, OK. Okay. Hopefully that gets me farther. Still some sort of nonsense going on here. Really? 112? Oh, it doesn't like these. What's the problem with this? Stripped state content. Aliases event content. deserialize is not satisfied. Oh, that's because these no longer implement deserialize directly. They also need to be wrapped in results. Wow, this is messy. Beadinihor, I apologize, I'm butchering your name, asks, what are you doing actually now? Can you clarify whether you mean like in terms of what I'm working on in the project, or like what the exact problem I'm working on in this part of the stream? Assuming you mean what am I working on in general? I'm working on a library called ruma-events, which you can find on GitHub right here, github.com/ruma/ruma-events. And this is a Rust library that has Rust types for each of the events in the matrix specification. And specifically what I'm doing on today's stream is I'm working on the deserialization API. So this is talking about converting from JSON data into Rust structures that represent those events, and making the deserialization more robust, so that if the event data that's coming in is valid JSON, but the structure of the JSON doesn't match the structure that Ruma, the library, is expecting, then you get, rather than just an outright failure, you'll get a special type that says there was an error here, we couldn't deserialize into the type we were expecting, but here's the original JSON in case you want to take a look at it. So I'm kind of revising the API of this library to do that. And specifically, I've done most of the library now, and so there's just a few types that are remaining to be changed to this new API that handles serialization better. So what's happening here is, on these lines, on these match statements, I'm trying to deserialize the JSON into these like stripped room alias, for example. So if we looked at stripped room aliases, we see that it's actually, it's a type alias for stripped state content aliases event, and this does not implement deserialize, because that in turn now needs to be wrapped in this new event result type. Right? So stripped state content. Man. Okay, so the way this is gonna, so basically this is gonna have to change to be event results of this type. Whoops. Oh man. So if this fails, I wonder if this can actually just use the question mark now, because the event result that comes back is already going to have an error if this conversion fails. So I think this can actually just be, let's try this. Let result equals this, and return if there's an error. And then we return stripped state room aliases result into result, which is kind of confusing. This is unwrapping the unwrap. I think that's what we want. And so actually, I can kind of make this a one-liner by saying stripped state room aliases. And then we call this. Let me put this on a separate line so it's easier to read. Dot into result dot unwrap. No, I guess we don't. Oh, this won't. I can't return. Oh no, I still have to match on this. Right? No. No. Because if it's an error, I just want to return that straight up. So this is right. What did I just do? Oh, I lost my undo history. I don't know what I just did there. Lost my undo history somehow. Okay, so stripped state room aliases into result unwrap. So that's going to give me the actual stripped room aliases object or value inside there. Let me just run the compiler on this. Oh, I didn't like that. What did I do? Oh. Yeah, so I can get rid of all of this now, I think. I'm try running the compiler on this to see if that... See if it at least likes that incantation. I know most of it's going to be wrong, but 114 doesn't like that. The trait-bound event result for strip state rune content is not satisfied. And why is that? Right. So I need to have a deserialized implementation for... Oh no, that's what this is. Oh, wait a minute, what the hell? I'm kind of getting into a circular problem here, where... Oh, stripped state content. So stripped state... What? This is so confusing. 114. Whoops. What happened to my... Oh, I accidentally typed in this window. Oh boy. So deserialize is not implemented for event result stripped state content. Right. Because what I'm implementing here is deserialize for event result stripped state, which is different. So I need to do the content. And this kind of has to work the same way, I think. Right? So I think, is there any implementations for stripped state content? Oh yeah, down here. So I actually needed to do this first. So we will implement deserialize for event result of stripped state content of C. Where is this right? Where C also doesn't implement deserialize directly. Let me see, what do I do down here? C also needs to be from string. So, oh man, this is so C is actually, this is introducing a lot of layers of nastiness. So, event result of C implements deserialize. Right? I think that's what we want, and then we still have to do all the checking here. This is really unfun. This crap all still needs to happen. So we still need to know what the type is. We need to know, we need to get the content out. I'm going to go as far as this. Okay. And again, this needs to be okay. Event result error. Okay. Event result error. Yeah. I should really make a helper for this. I should really do that before, because this is so nasty having to write that all the time. Let me do that before. Inner invalid event. Hold on. Is that even necessary anymore? Because there's always going to be... No, I guess that's right. Because it might have a deserialization error. Okay. So, oh god. Where's event result? Alright, so for event result, I want to do a crate wide. Let's call it pub crate fn validation error, and this will take a message, which is a string, and JSON, which is a surety JSON value, and this will return us self. And then we're going to basically do this pattern. So we're going to do event result, error, invalid event, invalid inner event, validation. The JSON is the value. Oh, this is called value. And the message is the error. Oh, I guess we can just do. I don't know, I guess they are called message and JSON. So then we don't have to have names. So this is a helper for creating a validation error. An error message and the JSON that failed validation. Okay, I didn't like that. Oh yeah, I've got too many of those. Unexpected close delimiter. Why? Oh, I think it's just, yeah. Okay, so I can change all of this shit, all of these things to event result. What did I call it? Validation error. Validation error. And this takes the message and the JSON. That's somewhat nicer to read. And then this will be similar, except it'll be error toString. We can probably suggest inlining this too, since it's just a really simple constructor and basically a simple code extraction that doesn't really need an extra stack. Stack frame, I mean. Where was I? So we're going to do the same thing here. Oops, VA. And oops. And one more time down here. I can clean this up later, because there'll be a bunch of places in the library where this can all change. Okay, so we're going to return all of the... Why is it complaining about stuff here? Cannot find JSON. Right, because it's called value. Oh. Okay, so now we've got our content, and we need to try to... We basically want to do this, but not quite. Wait a minute. This should be an OK. Event result. Validation error. Not a state event. toString. Value. Okay, and so this is going to complain because stripped state content no longer does what you expect. JSON string. I don't think the JSON string is necessary here. Event type. Let's get rid of these. Oop. Alright. Stripped state content. Reduces the boilerplate and match hardens of impl from string for strip state. Yeah. So we've got an event type and a value, and we're going to return that. So C needs to implement there needs to be a event result of C must implement deserialize. I think that's all we need. So we're not parsing JSON here. We are serde JSON from value of C. And here's the value. And then again we have... Why is this even returning a result? Oh. Oh, this actually converts the entire thing. That's handy. It's not just the content field. So that's... Wait a minute. Huh. I feel like there might need to be some duplication here. But, seems okay for now. So this needs to be an okay variant of event result, validation error, of error to string, and value. Okay, so now we've got content. We've got content event type. Is it going to try to do... So we've got the same nonsense down here. Field state key must be a string. And here we want missing field state key. And here we want the usual case of 60. And here we want sender must be a string. And here missing field sender. Okay, that all looks okay. And then, let's see. So this actually needs to be event result, okay. Not just okay. Alright. Let's see how far that gets us. Chain comparison Operators require parentheses? Oh, missing double colons. And I think I actually have from value in scope, so that may not be necessary. Not found in this scope. Right, this needs to be value. Oops. Ah. What did I do wrong here? JSON. What? What? 337. Value. What's going on here? Value. Expected a lifetime. Right, so this is for DE, deserialize, DE lifetime. Ampersand without an explicit lifetime name cannot be used here. 532. Same thing here. Lifetime DE shadows a lifetime that is already in scope. 324. Oh, I didn't need the higher time HRTB there. It was already part of the trait. Wrong number of type arguments. Expected 1, found 2. Right, we don't need to specify that it's an invalid event because that's part of the event result type now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Look at this crap, what the hell? Oh my god. I've got some recursive errors here. 114. Couldn't convert the error to deserialize error. Oh, right. Wait, what? Shouldn't the deser... Oh. So... I can't actually use the question mark here. I have to do a match. And if it's okay, event result, then we're going to do event result dot into result dot unwrap. And if it's an error, we're going to return the error outright. No, can we? No, we have to return OK error, which is a little confusing, but it's actually like, oh, it's okay because it's not a deserialization error. It's okay, it's a validation error. I think that'll work. Let me try running that again. See if that at least fixes that problem. Obviously we're still going to get all that stuff from the problem with the strip state deserialize implementation. Expected enum event result found struct Serialization error. Oh. Wait, what? Oh. No. We actually want to return the entire error. We don't want to destructure it in the error case. So it's really more like let result. I think what it needs to be, and then we need to match on result. If it's okay, that becomes that. Otherwise, we return the result. I think that maybe that's what we want. See if I can get this formulation right. What is it not like now? What? Missing. Oh, that looks right. Oh. Oh, I can't, yeah. I can't inline this now. So this needs to be up here. And this goes here. Whoops. Ah. Room aliases. Now let me not inline this. So let stripped state equals stripped state. Okay. I think that's right. I was thinking this would be an easy project to finish today, but it's turning into a real can of worms. Still having a problem here. Expected event result found result. What the hell? Oh. Wait, what the hell? So if the from value conversion fails, I guess we have to construct a new error in that case? Wait a minute, yeah. So this doesn't actually work. So we got to go back to the match form, it looks like, and just construct a new error. All right. And then in the error case, we need to do the return OK, event result, validation error, error.toString, and value. I think that's what we want now. Is that gonna work? Oh, man. Hey, buddy. It's okay. It's okay, puppy man. I think we had 34 errors before. Now there's 33, so that's a good sign. 120. Okay, good. So that actually worked. Now I just have to... I gotta do this again. Oh my god, what a pain. I'm sorry to make everyone watch this. I've got to change all of these other ones to work this way. Room Avatar. This isn't really... Wait a minute. No, this should have been in my... This is in the deserialize implementation. That's not what I expected. What happened to that? I thought I was working inside the stripped state function. Stripped state content. Where does stripped state content get called? Ah, crap. Oh my god, this is so painful. Okay, you know what? We're gonna... Let me try commenting this out for now. And the from string implementation and the try from. Let's comment that nonsense out for now and only work on the content. Or should we do it the other way around? No, I think the content is what we want. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, really only one error here. Is that right? According to the previous error. Overflowing. 362. Okay, so here we're deserializing a result of stripped state content of C. Wait a minute, stripped state content. Is that right? We want to, yeah. And C, no, I think stripped state content, because this, it's not actually C. I'm not actually sure how I want to represent this, because what happens if one of these variants is invalid? We don't actually know which one it is. I guess... So in order to deserialize this into a result, we have to deserialize one of these inner content aliases. And those are... Where's the pub type? Yeah, I guess it makes sense that these are not wrapped in event results. Right? So we deserialize into a value. And this is still wrong. It still needs to be... That question mark doesn't seem right. Oh no, it does, because if this fails, then it's a real deserialization error. So we deserialize into a value, get the type, we get the content as an object, and then so the thing that we're returning here is an event result of stripped state content. Event type and value. So this can't be returned directly. Did I already have something called event result here? No. So this is going to give us a result. And inside the event result, and so then an event result here is this returns a result of stripped state content. So this is the specific content type. So this is where we would need no. Oh god, I'm so confused in the event result wrapping. It's just hard to get my brain around it. Let me get these both side by side so I can see them a little bit better. Strip state content. Maybe this is right. I don't actually want to return a result. I want this to ultimately return an event result of stripped state content. It seems right. Let content equals oh no, so I need to pull out the actual C value, because I don't want C itself to be an event result. So this is actually not possible. So this needs to be event result of C. So if I get an event result, oh, and then if this fails, it's just a deserialization error. Right? I see. Let event result equals this. Is that, I don't think that's, wait. Yeah, so we've deserialized, and now that we have an event result, what do we want to do with it? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter, because stripped state content is generic. So this is really just like content is event result.unwrap. Is that right? That'll pull out the inner content value. Let's see if that how far that gets us. I think I'm thinking about this right. No, it's still getting hung up on that, or maybe that's just not the problem. No, it's still having trouble with that. Ah, damn it. And I guess that's just because this is generic. I'm somehow not seeing where the recursion is happening. Maybe it's because of what type does it think this is? Oh. Wait a minute. Let me just try doing something stupid here so it'll give me a type error and I can see what type it actually thinks it's returning. Although maybe it'll actually... Oh, this might be a problem. Oh no, it did get a few errors. Not implemented for U8. So what did it think it was? That's weird. Room aliases. Stripped room aliases. Let's try aliases event content. This still doesn't really make sense because... I don't know, I guess it does. Let's see if it cries about that. You know, one thing I find really confusing about Twitch, the Twitch dashboard, is that it shows me stats on number of viewers, but then if I look at the users in the chat, there's way more than just one viewer. So I'm not sure which one is accurate, the chat membership or the viewer stat. Maybe if someone is more familiar with Twitch, they'll know. Okay, so that 329. Oh, 362. Okay, it doesn't like this now. Expected type result of event result. Found type event result. Oh, so this needs to be wrapped. And that's because deserialize returns a result. So this actually needs to, stripped state content actually needs to be a result of event result or Serdi DE error, I'm guessing. And am I returning, what am I returning here? So I just need to wrap another OK around this, I think. Let's see if that gets rid of that error. Oh dear. Use dyn. Why? Wait. Man, this is, I had this here before. Let me see. Invalid event. Oh no, it's oh, that's because that's a trait, right? It's Serialization error. What the hell? What happened to the... Yeah. This is not Serdi DE error, it's Serdi JSON error. Let's try that. Hello. It's having some problems with the generic nature of this. $362. Expected type. So the structure matches, other than the fact that strip state content C. What does it think C is supposed to be? So C is anything that has an event result deserialization, which it does, which alias's event content does. So why is that a problem? Maybe it's not possible for the content itself to implement this. It needs to be wrapped in that enum. It's time to stand again. I think it's having trouble with the generic return value, which is interesting. Like, I have to... I'm returning a specific error type here, or it's expecting me to return any C where C has an event result, deserialize implementation. But what I'm actually returning is a concrete type, so that for alias's event con. So I think the problem is that if I'm going to return a specific type like that, it needs to be one of a variant in an enum. So I think it's probably not possible to Yeah, I guess that makes sense because this is saying... Yeah, that C is not constrained by anything. Because there's like a finite set of content types that this can actually be. And so you can't deserialize any generic event result into this, because it has to be one of those specific types. So I think what this means is that I can't have a deserialized implementation for just the content. I think it needs to... It needs to be the stripped state itself, because that's where the enum is. If we go back to look at... Yeah, see this? Stripped state itself is an enum that has a variant for each of these possible cases. And I think the deserialization of the content needs to be a match within this implementation. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So we actually want this, we actually want to do this implementation and not the other one, which is really unfortunate because I wrote so much code for this. All that, I mean, yeah, that's the downside of boilerplate, is every time you have to make a change, you got to do it a bunch of times. So let's go back to... Close that extra buffer for now. Okay, so we've got the event type, stripped state, so we're matching on the event type. And for each one of the... Man, someone is shrieking outside. It's really annoying. I wish they would stop. It's like a little kid squealing or something. Okay. So this actually... Stripped room aliases. It's really the content that we want to extract as this. Right, 111. So it's kind of like this. So this will give us the content. And really we want to do... returns a result. So really we want to do... Do I want this to be an event result? Yeah, I guess I do. So the content is it's still matching on this. If it's an okay event result, then we want the inner value. And if it's an error, and the error, I think couldn't we just return the error directly? Because the error will already be an event result. I feel like we could already return the error just as is, because it's already an event result error. Oh, and this is actually event result because we're matching on the actual event result itself, not the standard library result. Yeah? Oh, which would make sense why... I think I'm going to end up with a type error here, but let me try it. And then in the end, we return okay of the strip state. Let's see how far that gets us. Actually, you know, what I'm going to do to reduce the number of errors here is just comment out the other variants for now. Let's see how far that gets us. Not found in the scope. I changed the name of it because that's the content. Okay. Still got that recursive problem. How is that possible? Serialization error doesn't... From Serialization error to Seri to serialize DE error. What? What is the error type here? Isn't... Yeah, it should be the deserializer's error type. What? That makes no sense. God damn it. Why does the question mark not work there? I don't understand. It returns a Serialization error, which does implement that trait. Session description. I don't understand that at all. Oh my god, this is so confusing. Okay, well, let's do this in 2 separate steps, and I don't understand why this is happening, but maybe this will illuminate. Okay, so if we've got an okay case, then we've got, oh, event result. And if we've got an error, let's return the error. Event to result. What's the problem here? Not found in this scope. Oh, right, I just changed the name. Carl, you're where my feet should go. I don't want to hit you with my chair, buddy. Okay. You're good. Expected associated type. found struct Serialization error. What the hell? So this is another problem with it expecting something generic and getting a specific type. Let me check out docs.rs/Serialization. So how does it work if I want to treat the error as a... I think this is again has something to do with using... It has something to do with the generic context. It implements standard error, so it does implement those errors. I don't understand. I guess the problem is that this error can be returned specific to JSON deserializations. But in this case, so I need this case it could, but this deserialize implementation is not specific to JSON, and hence I can't return a JSON specific error, even though I happen to be assuming JSON about the incoming data. So I guess I just need to do a custom version of it. So let me go back a step. No, I'll do it in 2 steps. So this error needs to be d-error custom error.toString. Wait, what does custom take? Anything that implements display. So I could probably just pass the error itself. Let me see if that works. Use Serdi de error. I think I'm gonna have to stop soon. I'm kind of getting tired. No method into result. What? 69G. Oh. 119. Oh, I don't need to do into result. It just holds the value normally. But wait, what? Oh no, this is the OK variant. So this is the actual content. I'm an idiot. Right? Right, so I'm just, yeah. Let's try that. Boy, am I glad to have a compiler. Imagine how hard this would be if I had to keep all of this in my head and just keep running it and getting errors. Okay, what now? Expected enum event result found struct invalid event. Right. So I just need to rewrap it. Event result error. Man, I'd really hoped to finish this today. It turned out to be really much more work than I was expecting. And that is problem. Match arms have incompatible types. Uh-huh. Why is that? Stripped state found result. Oh. How's that? Oh. I just need to get rid of the result around it. Or no, I should just return directly. I think that's the issue. Was just missing a return statement. I think there were 13 errors before, so this is looking good. 224. Oh, event result error. My God. $11 errors. Okay, we're getting somewhere. $275. Okay, so now we're getting into the from string implementation, which I actually don't want anymore. We just want deserialize. I wonder if commenting that out will get rid of most of those errors, and now we'll be stuck with just that recursive problem. Oh yeah. Now we're down to 2 errors. Mismatched types. 334. Right, so here, this is the one that I can't actually do this. We don't want from stir anymore. Or try from, and get rid of all of these. Let me also move this stuff up to the top. I don't know why this is all down here. Let's get these type aliases up top. So what is it complaining about again? 334. Oh, I guess that's not going to be. It's not 334 anymore. Let me just run it again. Four errors now. What have I done? Unused import. Okay. Well, we can get... Oh, and convert... Oh, interesting. try from. Oh, try from is still used. ToString is no longer used. Still got that mismatched types error, 370. Okay, so we've got a type mismatch because of... Oh, wait, I thought I commented this out. I can't have this. That whole thing just doesn't work. $149. The trait bound event result, blah, 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 blah. Deserialize is not satisfied. So you can't deserialize an event result of stripped state content. Why? Oh, right, because I can deserialize aliases event content, but not stripped state content because it's not generic. So this is where that function comes in. This stripped state. Let me try. Yeah. So I really want to do the work that I was doing in that function down at the bottom here. Let me open that up again. Take a look at... Why does this return a result rather than an event result? I guess it's because of this. We're doing from value. I think we want to change this to be stripped state. Which means that maybe we don't even need... It's really the extraction of this content type that we care about here. Maybe... Right, because this is going to end up with a shitload of stuff for each match arm. Yeah, I remember why I did this now. So what if I just call... Let me rename it to, like, generate... Or create stripped state. And we're going to give it the event type and the value. Oh, wait a minute. This goes a line below. And so this is no longer going to return I guess there still might be, so it's just a question mark. This still might return a Serialization error. It's no longer generic over C. Create stripped state. And we're going to return, I guess, yeah, we can wrap it in a event result. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. And then down here, eventually we just return an OK. That's going to end up with one too many layers, I think. But let's work from the top down. So the first thing we need to do is, I think we just match on it. So we don't actually need the event type. Is the event type even being used here? Oh yeah, it is. But we still need a, not sure how to do this. We kind of need a phantom type here, because it's like, this isn't C. Oh, I guess it is. So what was it called? It's room aliases is aliases event content. So we really need to specify aliases event content here as the content type that we want. I think that's what needs to happen. Let's get near the end here. Oh, this actually puts us back in the case where we're deserializing. Man, this is a problem. Let me not try to abstract it too much with this extra layer and just write it in line for this one type. So let's get rid of this for now. We're not gonna. In fact, let me comment out this entire method. I'm gonna try to do it without for the time being. Let's go back to this. So in the cases of the room alias, we are going to, well, I guess I still need some of that information from down there. So, sorry, let me go back. Undo that. Where's the stuff about the content? Where are we extracting the content field? That's not even in here. I'm so confused. Where does the word content even appear? Oh, I removed it. It was in this one. Okay, so after the event type, before we match on the event type, we need to extract the content value. And so this is just going to be a Serialization object. And then down here, we're going to say let content. And what do we do with content here? Interestingly, did not involve. Where does content even get used here? That content value is not even getting used. the hell? It makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. How was I not getting warned for unused variable? Yeah, it's literally not even getting used. I must have changed it and removed something. So content is going to be what type is this? This is going to be a event result of I already forgot the name of the event. Aliases event content. Aliases event content. And that's going to be from value. And we're going to, no, just the content. And if that fails, then yeah. I guess I should be consistent about the style here. Oh, and I need to put that in angle brackets. Okay. So we're trying to convert this content object into an event result of aliases event content. If it fails with a serialization error, we return. And I guess we really want to match on this, actually. Oh, and this is going to have the same problem where it's really this again. If we got what we wanted. Otherwise, we need to do this nonsense to get the error converted into the right format. Okay. And now it's wrapped in an event result. Let's just change this back to event result. No, let's use content result. So so the content itself needs to be unwrapped, which is that. And so now we've got the content. And we need to create a stripped state room aliases variant, which inside is which inside has stripped state content. I've got the content field. I think we've got the event type. And then there's a state key and sender is what that other stuff down here was. Yeah, so all of this can pretty much get copied. Right? So stripped state in this case will be the actual stripped state. So down here, we wrap it in an event result. Okay. That looks right. Let's give that a try. Not found in this scope. 580. Oh yeah, I want to comment this out again. Unused import value? Really? Okay. Oh, I missed what that other error was. I'll run it again. And I'm just about up to quitting time. I'm gonna need to stop even if this doesn't work. 161. Mismatch types. Expected asserted JSON value. I found asserted JSON map. Oh, interesting. 161. And that's because I don't think I actually want it as an object here. Not sure why I'm bothering with that. I don't think this needs to be specified here. So let's just try. Let's try that. Just give it a value instead of a asserty map, asserty JSON map, because it doesn't care whether it's a value or not. It's just going to try to deserialize. Expected enum found reference. I guess it needs to be cloned. That would seem right. I guess that seems right. This is looking good. Oh! Okay. It compiles. That is a perfect stopping place for today. Obviously did not finish this. I was expecting to get much farther. Although I guess what we did get is the macro is now working. So let me say, oh, I guess I want to get rid of those try-froms also. Let's see, get rid of the stuff that I commented out. Oops. So we no longer need from string, we no longer need try from. And the same here. These can be removed. Let's take a look at that again. Yep. Replace from string and try from impls with deserialize using event result. Okay, let's push that up. That worked. Oh, I guess I didn't actually run cargo test on this project itself. So let me verify that that works. I'll at least get this change pushed up, even though there's still more to do on ruma-events. At least the macro's been updated. So we did successfully complete that task of just getting the macro updated to the new API. So all of the direct event types are now working, and so it's really and what I ended up spending most of this stream on is a couple of these sort of unusual modules in ruma-events. There's going to be another one sort that will perhaps end up sort of like this, because there's also the two collections modules that we'll need to address once I get this stripped state stuff working. But those are basically the last two things that need to be updated. Those are the modules that are still commented out. Oh, what? Oh, good lord. Okay. So I need event result in the crate. Let me go back to lib. Where's event result? Ugh. Yep. So let's put event type. Let's put event result in here. Ah. And we'll see if that's enough. It might also require... Oh dear. Yeah, I've got the old API still being used. 263. Oh. Wait, what was that? 263. Oh yeah, so I just need to do 30 JSON from string JSON unwrap. Just changing back to the normal deserialization API instead of using our parse implementation. Oh, right. Duh. The whole point is that you can't assume it will deserialize. 263. What? 263? Oh, it's in the test. I'm an idiot. 263. So this is going to be actually event result. Alias is event. And then, so that's going to do that. Unwrap into result. Unwrap. And we need that into result method, don't we? Yep. So let's go back up top and get our into result method. Let's see if that works. Not found in this scope. Should I really need to stop quitting it? Where are the tests? Use create. Huh. Okay. Use super event result. Cannot infer type for T. What the hell? It does have a type annotation. Oh. It seems to be confused about... about this? Let event result let actual is aliases event event result dot into result. Variant is never constructed. Deserialization. 166. Yeah, okay. Oh, I guess that's right. We don't actually need this anymore. Because if deserialization fails, you're really fucked. So we might be able to get rid of invalid event on the next stream. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget. This is still kind of a problem in that we're gonna. No, let's leave that in case we ever need to expand the definition of the macro. Okay. And and I forgot to do Travis. So we want to do cargo audit. We're good. Cargo format. Cargo clippy. All targets. All features. And we've already run the test, so if this passes, I might have to recommit if there was a formatting change, which I'm assuming there was. Come on now. Oh, I've got to update to SYN 1.0 too. That's another thing we can do in a future stream. Oh my god, this is so slow. Come on. Okay. Oh, alright. No changes. Let's push that up. And this will continue on. I guess I can remove the tests folder at this point because the macro is working. Oh. Verification. Oh yeah. Forgot to do those. What's changed in the message module? Wait, what? Ah. Source room message. Uh-huh. Another missing one. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, hopefully I'll be able to do the next stream soon, because otherwise I'm gonna forget where I left off. Might not be so pretty to try to remember all that commented out code and what I was doing. In fact, let me write a to-do in that file. So, whoops, int type. To-do. On the next stream, start with doing the other variants in this match. Okay, that'll remind me that I did one variant, but I'm going to need to do the other one. And hopefully there's a way to, now that I've written out one that works, I'm going to once again try to extract the common portions of this so that each match arm won't be so incredibly verbose. Okay, well, we made some progress. It looks like there's a couple people maybe still here. If you're still watching, thanks very much for watching. I will export this to archive this to YouTube as usual. So follow me on Twitter, and I will tweet with the link when this is the video of this stream is posted. So thanks again for watching, for anyone who did, and I hope this was useful or entertaining. See you next time.